like, subscribe, and leave a comment. So here's your review of Raw and SmackDown week commencing the 11th of September. RIP. Obviously 11th of September. So it starts with Jey Uso coming out. Basically, he feels good. He's on his own now. He's doing his own thing. He's on Raw, and now he's ready to go. Then KO comes out. Basically says he knows how Jey Uso feels. He's been in that same situation. He's done some bad things in the past, and not a lot of people trusted him. Then obviously Jay's there, and he basically, KO said to him, Jey needs to earn his respect and respect to the people in the back. Then the Judgment Day come out. Finn comes out and basically defends Jey, says he doesn't need to earn anyone's respect, and the door is open for Jey to join the Judgment Day. And then they all face off in the ring, and then basically Jey sides with KO. So then it goes into a tag team match where it's KO and Jey Uso versus the Judgment Day in a really good match. But by mistake, Jey Uso super kicks KO and costs him the match, which makes Jey look really bad. So obviously the Judgment Day won the match. Then in the back, KO has a go at Jey, saying he cost him the match and no one trusts him, and he should just go back and join the Judgment Day. Then we have the Imperium basically turn up in suits in a nice Mercedes-Benz, all ready for a celebration. Then we have the Miz versus Tozawa in a decent match, but common now, obviously the Miz wins. Then we have Raquel in the back. She knows how good Rhea is, but she's not scared of Rhea Ripley, and she wants to take her out, and she's not scared. Then we have the Gunther Imperium celebration with the Ring General. Gunther basically comes out, says he's the longest reigning IC champion ever, really. He said previous champions contributed nothing, and he's basically running out of competition, and what can he do next? Then Chad Gable comes out, says he was close to beating Gunther, more close than anybody else in history who's faced Gunther, and Chad said the next time he faces Gunther he's winning, and he's going to make his family proud. Then obviously it breaks out into a big brawl, and Ciampa comes out with a chair and saves Chad. Then we have Xavier in the back, asks Drew what's the issue with him and Kofi. Xavier says Drew's basically jealous of Kofi because Kofi won his world title in a packed stadium, and Drew won the world title obviously in the pandemic era when it was just TV screens. And then basically Drew just calls him out. Then we had Chad, Otis and Ciampa basically in the back, and they want Imperium, so we'll see what happens there. Then we had Xavier versus Drew in a really close match. It was really good, a close match. Xavier pushed Drew to some limits, but in the end, come now, Drew won. And then we have Cody comes out, said he wants to talk about Jey Uso. As he was about to say that, Dominic comes out. Obviously the crowd are booing the heck out of him, and then basically says he's happy Jey is on Raw. And then basically they started brawling, and then JD comes out, and he also gets taken out by Cody as well. Then we have Drew confronting Jey Uso, saying he doesn't trust him, and then Jey basically goes, all right, bet, yeet, my dog, I'll face you next week on Raw. So we'll see what happens there. Then we have Chelsea Green versus Shayna, because there's a little altercation in the back. In the end, Shayna gets the win. Then we have Seth Rollins comes out, says he doesn't know doesn't know who he was before previously. In his career, he didn't know who he was. He was in the Authority. He didn't know who he was. He came out as the Messiah. Didn't know who he was. Now he's being himself, and now people like him and the crowd embrace him. Then Shin basically, and he wants Shin to face him. And then in the back shows Shin beating down Ricochet and says he can't face Seth Rollins because he's busy. So we'll see what happens there. And then Finn says basically he's cool with Jey. It's all good. And Finn says he's a big fan of Jey, and he wants Jey in the Judgment Day. So we will see. Then we have the Alpha Academy and Ciampa versus the Imperium in a really good match. But in the end, surprisingly, Chad Gable gets the win. So congratulations to Chad. Then we have Becky Lynch going back and forth with the NXT Women's Champion. Sorry, I forgot her name. She does look stunning though. And then she's going to face Becky Lynch, so we'll see. And then in the main event of the evening, it's Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez for the Women's World Championship. Really good match. But we had the return of Nia Jax. She interfered in the match. She cost Raquel the win. And then Jax basically took out everybody. So we will see how she fits into the women's division. Then we head over to SmackDown. Wow, SmackDown's crazy this week. We had Pat McAfee turn up, say he's happy to be there, he's happy to be on SmackDown, sort of talking up the crowd. Then Austin Theory, A-Town down, say that out loud. A-Town down, I can't remember the song goes, but Austin Theory comes out. He starts bragging about all his success and his accomplishment and being only 26. You know what I mean? It was quite funny. He was disrespecting Pat McAfee as well. Said they were both wearing the same tank top. And then Theory said in his vest, he looks like a Greek god. In his vest, he looks like some guy, I don't know, some guy working at a burger van or something. It's quite funny. Then Pat McAfee says, this show is for the people. Who comes out? If you smell, The Rock comes out. Wow, I didn't see that coming. The Rock comes out, the place goes nuts. And then basically, Theory starts to go at The Rock. He gets told to be quiet by The Rock. And then Theory starts to try to use The Rock's catchphrases against him. It's quite funny. But then Theory basically gets owned. The crowd turns on Theory. And then Rock basically drops the people's elbow on Theory. Really good segment. Go and watch it. You haven't seen it, but The Rock is back. Then we had Finn versus AJ Styles in a really good match. But due to interference from Jimmy Uso, Finn Balor won the match. Then we have The Rock in the back, basically talks to Pat McAfee, and then he runs into John Cena. Obviously, these two fought twice before, but they have a hug and it's real cordial, so it's all good. Then Jimmy is talking to Finn in the back. Basically, Finn is saying Jimmy said Finn did him a favor the other week, so he did him a favor back. And then Finn's basically say, come and join the Judgment Day, because there's no leader and there's no Roman Reigns, so we'll see. Then we have the NWO in the ring. They're basically talking about each other, talking about their win. And then Santos says to Ray he wants to face Ray honorably for his United States Championship. Ray accepts, then Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits come out and basically call out the LWO, which then goes into a match with the Street Profits versus the LWO in a decent match, but in the end the Street Profits gets the win. Then we have The Miz versus LA Knight. Yeah. In a decent match, really good match, go and watch it. But in the end, LA Knight gets the win. And after the win, he calls out all the champions. He calls out Gunther. He calls out Rey Mysterio. He calls out Seth Rollins. He even calls out the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns. Said he comes for everybody. Then we have Paul Heyman in the back. Tells Solo he needs to wait for Roman to make any decisions, but Solo goes, I don't care, I'm doing this on my own. I don't know what he's talking about, but we'll see. Then we have Pretty Deadly in the back. They're obviously injured. One of them's injured, but they're going to be coming back soon, so I hope he gets well soon. Then we have Bayley versus Asuka in a decent match, but due to a little bit of interference, Asuka gets the win. Then in the main segment of the evening, it's John Cena on the Grayson Waller. So John Cena comes out. Grayson Waller obviously is touching nerves, calling out John Cena. Before John Cena even says anything, Jimmy Uso comes out, and Jimmy Uso basically says, nobody wants you here, John, get off my show. And then as it got a bit testy, it got a bit heated, Solo comes out. And then Solo comes out, he goes in front of John Cena. He looks like he's going to take out John Cena. Then he turns on Jimmy, then he takes out John Cena. Then it turns to a big brawl, and AJ Styles comes out. So we will see what happens. So that's your review of Raw and SmackDown. Leave a comment, like, subscribe.